Welcome back to the show, homies. This is part 2 of the First-Time Homebuyers Ultimate Playbook. It's time to get you those practical, actionable activities. This is the step-by-step guide with the steps. Let's rock.
How to Buy a Home educates, protects, and connects first-time homebuyers to qualified vetted realtors in their area. Whether you're looking for DIY information or step-by-step guidance, How to Buy a Home is the #1 resource for first-time homebuyers.
Welcome to the season, How to Buy a Homies. I'm Coach David Sidoni, and in part 1, I broke down the philosophy that produced thousands of first-time homebuyer championship trophies. Man, I really hope you listen to that first episode, or that metaphor is not going to make any sense to you. I'm 20 years into this game, and I'm sharing my secrets to show you the winning path. This is part 2, so we're going to get right to it. We started with a team motto, the credo. You're building a rent replacement strategy, and now it's time to hand you the playbook. Sports teams, they often have a style of play, a system. Basketball has the triangle offense, football has the cover 2 defense, and baseball has small ball. And hey, if sports aren't your thing, then imagine if the world of Harry Potter had a spell casting system that they used. They'd call it gibberish twirliosis, because they twirl the wand. Okay, anyway, the system for the playbook, it is called the Last Lease Ever. It's a clear, simple, and customized plan that can help most renters prepare to buy a home in 12 months or less. You get the instruction, and it sets you up the right game plan. And you only need to take one action step a month. No fluff, no gimmicks, just real results. And maybe you're thinking, dude, did you really just say that most renters can buy a home in 12 months? If the playbook was that easy, then why isn't everybody teaching this? Well, the answer is exactly the same as it is with professional sports. The owners, they're greedy. And the owners of all the real estate companies, they train the realtors. So the realtors are trained only to work with buyers who can buy a home in 30 to 60 days. The industry ignores first-time home buyers in this crucial planning phase. They want you to do it all on your own, make up your own playbook, and come to them only when you're fully ready so that they can make their quick payday. And of course, this leaves renters totally out in the lurch with no guidance, no plan, and no idea how to prep for homeownership. I've spent over a dozen years working on coming up with a better system when I was coaching local first-time homebuyers here in the Southern California housing market. This market is very expensive and very difficult for first-time homebuyers. So building that playbook and that system, it had to be extraordinary. And then in 2019, I started the podcast, and I've been sharing this system nationwide. We're going to help you with the planning phase so you can get the best results whenever it is that you're ready to buy. The playbook gives you a roadmap with step-by-step instructions. And it's not a course, it's not a webinar, it's not a PDF. It's a tested and verified playbook to get you a plan. And even better, it's a plan to help you do your planning. Okay, let's crack open the playbook. You only have to focus on 3 things this season. We call them the big 3: your credit score, your debt, and your savings. All you do is map out where you are with each of those, set your goals for each one, and then create a clear roadmap with easy monthly action steps. So you build your plan with your coaches, a unicorn realtor and a lender, and it's free. There's no upfront fees or costs for the coaching sessions. And there's no pressure to buy a home ASAP so that they can get paid. Unicorns know the playbook, and they know how to build you a personalized 12-month blueprint. And it starts with just 2 meetings, 45 minutes each. 90 minutes is all it takes, so you can build a plan that's going to change your life over the next year. That's why it's your last lease ever. And that's it. You start by simply creating the goals for your big 3, credit score, debt, and savings, the holy trinity of getting approved for a home loan that you want. And then you work the plan. What you're going to do is you're going to make a starting point for each one, and then you're going to have a goal for each one as well. So like picture 3 of those fundraising thermometers you see when people are trying to hit a target goal. So in your discovery meetings with your first-time homebuyer pros, you're going to figure out your starting point for each one of the big 3, credit score, debt, and savings. And then you create specific goal numbers for the top of the thermometer. So in those first 2 meetings with your first-time homebuyer pros, that's when you're going to figure out your starting points for each one of your thermometers. And then you create goal numbers for the top of the thermometers. And you're not going to be having to do this by yourself. You're going to get expert guidance to assist you in setting the proper goal numbers for each category. And they're coming to you from someone who sees the real numbers every single day. And then they're going to help you set up real, practical action steps and give you the advice on the best strategies to fill up your thermometer so you can hit your goals. Those meetings are set up because this is tailored and personalized to your journey on your budget and on your timeline. And then all you have to do is once a month, you check in. You're going to get some straightforward action steps for each 30 days. And then you just go live your life. You do you. And you can breathe easy knowing that you have a plan in place and that it's working and leveling you up, propelling you forward. And if you want to track your progress exactly, rad. Just look at this elementary school picture of thermometers. You can even print them out and color them in as you go. I do suggest if you want to do that, go to your parents, your grandparents, or your aunts, or your uncle's house, print them up there. And when they see how serious you are with the plan, bam, that's when you work the guilt and ask them to give you some help with your down payment. Now, in just a sec, I'm going to explain to you how to implement the action steps, but I do just want to say real quickly, I know this sounds like a kindergarten project, but I do that on purpose. It's intentionally set up to be simple in structure in base. So if life happens, and trust me, gang, it will, you can rest easy and know that you're not going to be overwhelmed since all of your goals are uncomplicated and clear. But of course, buying a home, there's a lot more to this than these 3 little thermometers. And if you would like to, you can get as complex as you want. There are all kinds of mathematical variables that can alter every aspect of this and completely change your journey. So once you get the hang of things and you start to see all the options available to you, I have seen first-time home buyers take the thermometers digital, and then they incorporate some really complex mathematical algorithms and spreadsheets and graphs and charts and budgeting tools. You can go nuts. But no matter how you approach it, the goal is for everybody, no matter what, you can always see a clear path with practical action steps. That is truly the secret sauce. This program is going to allow you to check on your journey anytime, keep tabs of how you're doing, give you little milestones that you can celebrate along the way. And of course, anytime you can reassess and adjust along the way. But most importantly, you're finally going to feel like you have some real control over the process. So, the big 3 in the playbook. Here's the tips on what to do with those. Number 1, your credit score. You're going to start by setting your credit score where you are today. And no, I'm telling you right now, it is not the score you get from Credit Karma or your apps or your bank or your credit card. There's like 28 different credit scores. And in fact, everything you need to know about your credit score is in episode 304. If you catch this episode you're listening to today after October, then I've updated that and it's episode 403. I know it's confusing. One's 304, one's 403, but we'll put them both in the show notes for you. Anyway, that's the place where I break down everything on your credit score. Few of the things I go over are that when you're buying a home, a credit score affects the entire financial world of buying a home. It's going to change the loan programs that you can use. It's going to change the costs on different variables within the process. And sometimes it can even change the amount of loan that you get approved for. So you're going to start by setting your target. 720 is recommended for better rates. 760 is the top. I go more into that in that episode I mentioned to you. And here's some of the steps that you're going to be going over. You're going to learn how to use the credit score wheel. That's the division of how they calculate your score. Looks like a pie. It's all sliced up, and you're going to learn how to improve each slice. You're going to learn reducing credit utilization to the magic numbers, requesting credit limit increases. That's a huge one, and you can put that as one of your action steps and watch your score go up. Reporting your rent to the credit bureaus. That's a thing now and a great way to boost your score. And then my favorite trick, it's a magic trick. I did it myself at 49 years old. I got on my dad's credit card, became an authorized user, and my score went up 40 points. That all gets explained to you. Again, the episodes are 304 and 403 if it's after October. Number 2 in the big 3 is your debt. This is a big part of how much home you can buy. So what you're going to do is you're going to work with your team and you're going to learn about debt to income ratio. And you're going to begin to focus more on your monthly debt numbers than your total gross amount of debt. That's a big tip that everyone needs to learn because it doesn't matter if you got $200,000 or $300,000 in student loans. What matters is how much you need to pay on that a month. And in fact, we've had quite a few different homies that have bought homes with hundreds of thousands of dollars of student loan debt. You're going to work on understanding those monthly obligations. And then what you're going to do is you're going to set your goals for each debt that you've got. So this one thermometer, you might actually get a bunch of little mini thermometers, for different credit cards or loans that you have. And then every month, you're going to calculate how paying down your debt strategically is going to help you get to the goal of getting you the best home loan approval for the purchase price of the home that you want to buy. If you want more details on how to manage your debt so you can become a homeowner, that one's 305 or 404 if it's after October of 2025. Again, JT is going to put those links in the show notes. And then we get to thermometer number 3, savings. Now that goes hand in hand with your debt. You're going to be building a strategy to balance paying off your debt while growing your savings. I know that sounds like it's completely counterproductive, but I've dropped a comprehensive explanation of the Debt Savings Balancing Act in episode 381. JT will put that in the show notes as well. And when it comes to the balancing act of the debt and the savings, your coaches, they're going to help you decide where your monthly money works the hardest. That's the great thing. You're not doing this by yourself. So 3, savings. So with your team, first thing you're going to do is you're going to choose a home price. So in this example, I'll say, let's pick $400,000. What I recommend for your goal is 8%. Now, the reason for that is it's a 5% down payment plus 3% closing costs. 5 plus 3, 8% total. Now, look, you might be able to use way less than that. Or maybe you've already got a big chunk of money saved and you want to put way more down. Cool. This is for people that don't have 8%, but would like a plan. There are so many programs out there that don't need this full 8%, but the reason I use it is because it's a good target percentage, something that you can shoot for. And then while you're working your plan, you can learn all about the potential options that you might have. That's what your unicorn team can show you. So what you're going to do is you're going to take 8% of 400,000 and create a 12-month savings target. That's 8 of 400,000, that's $32,000. And then all you do is you set your starting point and establish monthly contributions to hit that target $32,000. And depending on how much extra money you have coming in or whatever, you set it up with the increments that work to hit on a timeline that works for you. I tell people all the time to make sure they factor in their potential tax refunds or work bonuses. And then I also, I tell people all the time, when you get doing this, start telling your friends and family now that all you want for presents for the next 12 months, for any holiday, birthday, or anything else coming up, is a contribution to your down payment savings account. Now, why am I laughing? Because I've actually seen renters set up a Kickstarter or a GoFundMe and send it to people like 2 weeks before their birthday. I've seen lots of homies that use this. And the reason I'm giggling is because what happens is they're shocked at the results. People love to support this cause, especially family members in other parts of the country. So for more details on savings, you can go to episode 306 or 405 after October. And again, we'll put those in the notes. Okay, that's the playbook. That's the simple structure of the last lease ever. Yeah, really, that's all it is. And because no two renters are alike, let's talk about how the last lease ever customizes everything for your specific planning period. When you have those 2 meetings, your support team is going to start with your goals. That's number 1, first and foremost. Before you ever even get into the numbers or the action steps or talk about things like, hey, can I do this? And what am I approved for? That is the key with the last lease ever. It's a customized program built around you and your objectives, your goals. And in your first meeting together, you're going to create goal numbers based on your goals. We want you to get to your desired end result on your timeline. But most importantly, we want to make sure that you're doing the things that fit into what you want. And the extra super duper massive benefit that you get by connecting with a team willing to lay out a long-term plan with you is that as the market shifts, and it will shift, or even perhaps your life changes, circumstances, things get all ass backwards, you're going to have a trusted professional advocate, someone that's going to assist you in implementing any adjustments that you need to make along the way, whether it's to make sure that you can still stay on some sort of plan, even though you're trying to deal with a tornado or a mess that's happening in your life, or they can help you adjust if there are advantageous changes in the market. Things happen. There could be changes in your income. There could be life events. There could be changes in down payment options. A lot of times they're coming up with new down payment assistance programs that happen every 3 or 4 months. Interest rates might change. Home prices might change. Housing market trends in your specific area might change. Or like I said, there could be a fundamental change in your life goals. And we've seen this. Some buyers, right from the start, they actually create 2 plans, Plan A and Plan B. Now, usually when this happens, it's one partner that wants Plan A and the other one that wants Plan B. But I have to warn you, a good advisor, a good unicorn, all we do is create the plans for you. Don't go looking for them to side with you so you can win an argument over which plan is best. There's only one right way to do this, and that's your way. And that's your united way. We're not about to pick sides. You got to decide that amongst yourselves. And I've even seen some people right at the beginning make multiple different plans. They create a 12-month plan, a 9-month plan, a 6-month plan, and then like a super intense 3-month plan. And that's the beauty of working with an advisor from the start. You set up your thermometers and you can decide what you want to do anytime. And as for us, adjustments, changes, yeah, that's what we do 24/7 every day. That's our job. Seriously, just this morning, I'm recording this right now. It's Friday, September 5th. Just this morning, interest rates dropped. And unicorn lenders out there, they're getting first-time homebuyer loans for 5.49%. This is a seismic shift in the affordability factor for first-time homebuyers. And, I was talking to a few unicorn lenders and realtors today who said, hey, we've got these folks that are in a last Lease Ever program, and they're set for spring of 2025. That's when they're going to be ready to buy. Well, right now, some of those people are adjusting their plans because they said, hey, with the rates going down, I want to buy a home so we can host the holidays this winter in 2025. And I'm so excited about this because we've been in a rising price market for freaking 17 years. So things are going to shift, not just with the interest rates, but with a lot of things. It's got to start moving. So once your plan or multiple different plans are all in place, you've got a team dedicated to your goals, and they're going to be consistently monitoring market changes like what happened today so that you can seize opportunities as they arise if that fits into your goals. So the big 3, that is the foundation of your playbook. But the beauty of this program is if you've got a savvy veteran coach, someone with you from day one of training camp, they can keep adding to the playbook, and they have a ton of plays that no one in the league is using. These tactics are crushing opposition. Here's just a few examples of some of those plays that help first-time home buyers here at How to Buy a Home over the last few years. Planning the lease buyout. A lot of people really understood that if they started their conversation early with their landlord, they were very surprised at the options they got, and it ended up being a better mathematical equation for them to break their lease early because it ended up being a lot cheaper than they thought. There's also the mortgage timing trick. I've talked about this in other episodes. It's basically leveraging how mortgages are paid in arrears as opposed to rent, which is paid forward. So when you buy a home, you get like 6-7 weeks of no payments necessary. So because of the different ways that you pay when you buy a house and the way that you buy into it with your closing costs, sometimes you can go 6-7 weeks without a payment. So that first chunk of time you're in your home, you're not even paying a mortgage for a long time. Now that's something I get into in other episodes. Another great addition to the playbook is understanding how to structure your offer so that you can get things that maybe you weren't thinking about trying to get, like you might get certain appliances or some of the furniture, or most importantly, you might end up getting your closing costs paid, a giant credit from the seller, things that you can use for closing costs or repairs or renovations. All of that can be negotiated by your unicorn team. And that type of stuff is the stuff that you can talk about during the planning process. We also have just this year, in addition to the playbook, was assumable mortgages. Getting a sick 3% interest rate. Now, it's a little bit complex and you've got to find the right particular home to do it. But yeah, this is something that we've talked about here and now all the unicorns know about. And of course, your unicorns are always going to be stacking that playbook with down payment assistance, credits, grants, credits on your loans. Some lenders are having programs right now. And the neat thing about down payment assistance programs is it's not just for people that don't have any money. There are people that have 5, 10, 50% down, but they still find a down payment assistance program. And a lot of the people that don't have any money, they're stacking 2 or 3 down payment assistance programs on top of each other. These are just some of the things. I mean, there are so many things that get added to the back of your playbook after the big 3. But this coaching staff, they're going to be the ones on top of the first-time home buyer market every single day, your unicorns. And they're going to be the first to know about the new advantages as soon as they pop up. But the main thing about the playbook is I want you to focus on the big 3, because that's not talking about, ooh, here's the tricks to buy a good deal. No, let's get you ready to buy a big deal first. And while you're doing that stuff, you can go ahead and check out the podcast library, because all the techniques I talked about, a whole bunch more, they're in there. I do highly encourage you to continue that free education from the podcast while you're working on your plan. Knowledge is power. You pair the Last Lease Ever program with listening to podcast episodes so you can learn faster and get more prepared. Okay, now the next part I want to explain about the playbook, I'm kind of worried that I'm going to sound like every other pushy real estate idiot is trying to pressure you into something so that they can get paid, not because it's the best thing for you, but I'm just going to say it. I have been telling everybody for the last 6 years, and for a large chunk of my real estate career, whenever the market dictated, that the sooner that you do this, the better off that you're going to be. And, I'm not doing that because I want to run out and help you buy a home tomorrow so I can get paid. I'm just telling you, the sooner you do this, the better off you're going to be. Because, seriously, you're going to have a better life and you're going to be using a system that everybody should be taught. So it wouldn't feel so weird to be like, really, I should do this? Yeah, everyone should be taught, but they're just not. And, if you haven't heard a lot of this podcast, let me assure you, I'm telling you, I think that doing this as quickly as possible is the best for everyone. Because number one, I didn't do it in my 20s, and my life would have been way better instead of me spending all that money in rent in my 20s if I had found the playbook and I'd done a Last Lease Ever. How do you get the best information in life? Hindsight. Someone else screws up and then they tell you what not to do. So understand, I'm telling all of this with earnest intentions. The mission here and the message that I'm trying to spread is 100% for your benefit. Number one, most realtors think first-time homebuyers suck. They think you suck their time, their energy, their money. And so the real estate industry offers you the weakest, untrained, unqualified, licensed agents. Yes, that was said with colossal sarcastic air quotes. Licensed. You need someone rare, a unicorn. So I don't care. Find one on your own, or you can ask me for one that I vetted. The point is, you absolutely need a unicorn because so many people out there are just not up to the task. So you need a unicorn, you need someone rare. There are 3 million licensed agents. I only endorse 300. So yeah, that's 0.01% of all the people who have a license. And every industry has the best of the best. Unicorn Nation is the tippy top of that best pyramid. And the reason why I've been telling people to do this as soon as you can, because if you get with a unicorn team, they don't care when you buy. They only care how you buy. They care what's best for you. So when the timing is right, that's what they're going to help you do. Number 2, I've been coaching first-time homebuyers for 20 years. I started the podcast because I was depressed and disgusted at how few people in the industry were educating first-time homebuyers with this playbook that I'm talking about. And then I realized it was because nobody wanted to work too hard to lay out the planning. They just wanted to slam dunk buyers. So I grabbed a microphone and here we are. Number 3, check my track record. There's hundreds of podcasts and YouTube videos, all with dates on them. And there's plenty of forecasts and predictions and guidance, all the things to do the optimum things to take advantage of the market. Every 5 years, no matter what's going on in the market, renters look back and think, man, I wish I could have bought a home 5 years ago. Unfortunately, the truth is a lot of them could have, but they just didn't have the playbook. And I wish they did, because time as a homeowner is where the magic happens. And so the sooner that anybody can use a rent replacement strategy and buy a home, the more wealth and the life options that they're going to attain. Is it going to be tough at first when you're a homeowner? Maybe. So that's why the playbook isn't called, check it out to see if you qualify today. It's about making a plan so that you can make the right move when the time is right for you. After doing the math for as long as I have, I know that the math says that for most of you, it's right a lot sooner than you think. Here's something you're probably not going to hear from a lot of people who are telling you to buy anything. When you buy a home, your mortgage payment is going to be hard the first few years. Yeah, I said that. Not a great sales pitch, huh? What I mean is, and what I want to share is that yes, mathematically and factually, the first year you own a home, your mortgage payment will be the most difficult. That's facts. But here's the catch. Then for the next 25 years, it gets easier and easier and easier. Picture yourself 5 years ago. Would you like to be sitting with your current salary right now, but be living in the same apartment you're in right now, but only paying the rent that you paid 5 years ago? And the last thing, so you know I'm on your side. Dude, I'm not telling you to buy a house right now. It's just a plan. Nobody's forcing you to buy in a Last Lease Ever program. You can adjust, you can extend, or you can even bail on the whole thing at any time. I started this revolution because when most people start the plan, when they're working the simple steps, I see the light bulb go off. Their eyes are wide open and they're like, whoa, I can't believe I have these options and opportunities. And they're finally getting to see what so few people have attempted to explain to them. So that's the mission behind all of this. And now I'm going to say something else that I worry is going to sound like a pushy idiot real estate salesperson. Since COVID, as the economy has changed and the American dream is completely different for renters, the Last Lease Ever, it's urgent. The sooner you start this journey, the sooner you realize that you can do this. And then the longer you're going to own, gaining options you never dreamed of in the form of real stable wealth. After that, life options that no renter has. So don't wait until everything feels perfect. Start as soon as possible because the only way to beat skyrocketing rents is to get off the hamster wheel and lock in your cost of living. Today, tens of thousands of renters have followed this playbook to homeownership, and I'm pretty pleased to report that over the last 6 years, 72% of the renters that came to How to Buy a Home and thought that they were 12 to 18 months from buying a home, using the Last Lease Ever, they ended up being under contract in an average of 3.2 months. And look, I don't know who you are listening right now, but if you're still here after part 1 and this whole part 2, and you're still listening, you're probably a lot closer than you think. So now you get the double support while you're working the playbook. The podcast is everything a first-time homebuyer needs to know. If you go back to episode 385, it's got a complete breakdown of how to use the podcast back catalog for everybody, no matter where you are in your journey. So you can just keep educating yourself while you're working the playbook on the big 3. And the mission here, it's you. And the playbook is ready. Education, clarity, and action that you can track. So come on, team. Let's go. So stop making excuses. Stop waiting for prices to crash or 3% interest rates to come back or saving up for the perfect 20% down payment. Those are myths and fears that are keeping you stuck. The real move is to start your training camp today, no matter how far down the line you think it's going to be before you're ready. Plan today and act when you can. And you're going to be doing that with far superior options to everyone else who scrambles when suddenly their rent goes up $500. You can go to howtobuyahome.com and ask for your unicorn planning support team. Book a couple of meetings, get your action steps, color in your thermometers, and change your life. 99% of the real estate industry doesn't want to work this hard because they don't see the value in it. Fine, no problem for you. You just work with the 0.01% that do. And you're going to be the one that's showered in confetti holding the championship trophy or, I don't know, accepting a Tony or an Oscar or a Nobel Peace Prize or whatever the hell the trophy is for the cornhole champ. You can do this.
Looking for more DIY education or your own personal step-by-step guidance through the home buying journey? Since 2019, How to Buy a Home has been the #1 resource for first-time home buyers. So visit howtobuyahome.com to get started.